trumpet.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I'm Rob, your host, and today's going to be a fun show. We are at a place I'm real excited to talk about and kind of visit with the owner about. It's going to be all about wine and food, and we're going to have a special guest with us who he was nice enough to have me on his first episode, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that. But the star of the show today is going to be the Cellar Door, and visiting with Ron Holsomback. Is that right, Ron? Did I say it right?
That's pretty good, man. I'm impressed. Very good.
Huh? Yeah, I'm no problem saying your first name. The last name kind of
it's German.
It's apparently. German. Okay. So we're at the Cellar Door. We have Ron Holsomback. We have Preston Smith. Preston, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
Thanks for coming up and joining us today.
Man, you came out on my first show, so I got to spread some love, and plus Ron's family, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, that was the thing. You know, this is kind of your stomping ground right here. This is where you hang out and kind of where you play your music and things like that.
That's where it all began.
Thought it'd be fun to have you come up and joining us on the show because you can give a lot of good insight about this place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we start with Cellar Door, Preston, you started a podcast.
Yes. So my podcast is Bourbon, Whiskey, and Jazz. Like Ron knows, we've done jazz here at the Cellar Door for a long time. And the podcast is basically focused on bourbon whiskeys and talking to musicians. So we talk to a distillery and we talk to a musician and, you know, go through stuff and talk about what we taste and just pretty much interview people and talk biz.
Yeah, just conversation, man. Just having fun.
Yeah, you were on my first episode, and we've got a couple of exciting lineups coming up and some really great musicians and distilleries. So it's popping, man. The show's taking off, and I'm excited.
I think it's great, man. I think jazz and whether it be wine or bourbon or anything, I think it just goes together. So I think it's a great concept, and I think you're going to do really good at that, man.
Well, we've been doing jazz at the Cellar for a long time, and the wine and jazz thing is definitely. I mean, Ron's a huge supporter of the music scene here in Katy, so. But the jazz always vibes well with it.
Yeah, I think Preston got engaged here at the Cellar Door. So.
Did you really?
I actually did. Yes, I did. My English bulldog walked the ring in. He allowed to come.
Are you bull crapping me or is that?
No, we're dead serious.
Seriously,
Ron and I have known each other for a long time.
I mean, the engagement part, yeah, I'm on board. But the bulldog walking.
Oh yeah. We planned it, and my first when I really started playing again before everything took off is I literally was playing here at the Cellar, and so Ron's been through the whole ride, and then I met Alicia and she would come up here as well, and so I told Ron, I said, all right, I'm gonna propose here. So
that's
we proposed
awesome.
in the restaurant, and everybody stopped for a second.
And I know we're getting kind of on a tangent here, but how long y'all been married now? Because they've only been open 10 years, so you proposed
3 years. I believe we're on our third year. But we got married in 16. So
16, okay.
So I think we're 3 years.
And how long you and I have been married?
About 6.
Is there a little bromance going on here? Is there?
Yeah. It's all jazz and wine, man. I mean, we have to. It's just part of the wish. And actually, we had Ron's wine at the wedding, and it's been a.
Did you get married here?
No. We got married out in Wimberley, Texas, but Ron was there.
That's nice. Like that. No.
I know.
Well, I mean, I would, but
I thought he might think about it for a minute, but he went, no, not here.
No.
Well, I want to talk about Cellar Door because we've come up, years ago, and we've kind of been back a few times over the years, but recently we've come up more than a handful of times and checking your place out. You've changed it a lot. I mean, you've really evolved in what you're doing here and what you're offering to the Katy community. And I thought, man, we need to get out and talk about this a little bit and let everybody know kind of what's going on at the Cellar Door.
Wow. Well, yeah, we have evolved. Originally, we thought we'll open a winery and they will come, like Field of Dreams. And
so was that the thought, a winery? Not necessarily a wine bar, a winery.
A winery, correct.
Okay.
And we opened it, and they didn't come. We had a few people come, but, I guess being in Katy, it wasn't really a destination for folks. And so we had to evolve, as you mentioned, and we've added a kitchen and a full menu and distributor wines. And now we're like a wine mecca. All our food's tailored to pair with the wine. We bring in, 200 different wines from around the country and around the world. And we make about 15 different wines ourselves.
In-house?
In-house.
Yeah, next door we went and looked at the facility, cool place. Make your wines right there on site. Source your grapes.
Source the grapes mainly from California.
Okay.
We got some partnerships with some wineries in California that They make some private label stuff for us, and we get to go out and participate in the process and taste the wines.
Very cool.
And talk to the winemaker, that sort of thing. So we do have some influence on the type of wine that is made for us. So that's a lot of fun.
That's got to be a lot of fun. I want to step back for a minute though and go. Where did this all start? I mean, you're a guy who, you and your wife, I guess she had to be on board with this idea.
Yeah, kicking and screaming maybe.
Kicking and screaming. So 10 years ago, it's been 10 years you've been open? About 10 years?
Yeah, we opened in August of 2010.
Okay, so going on 10 years this year. And you're doing what at that point in your life, business-wise, work-wise, you're doing what?
In corporate America, I had a sales and marketing company, did some medical coding, transcription, billing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And just was looking to do something that I was more passionate about.
And you were into wine, drinking wine.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is you think you know something about wine, and then you get in the business and you realize you don't know anything.
Yeah. And
then you over 10 years you learn a little bit, and you still really never know that much about wine. It's a day-to-day process.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing as the concept with my show was bourbon, and the same thing with wine and jazz. I mean, jazz is the same thing. You think you know a little bit about jazz, and you go to school and you learn. It's just, it keeps evolving. And your appreciation, the higher up the chain you get, the more you realize you really don't know. And that's a cool thing about wine and, and stuff like that.
For me, I think that's part of why I enjoy it so much. Same with music, right? You're never going to reach the top of the pyramid. It's always more to learn, more to explore, more to kind of get down that rabbit hole, if you will. I mean, that's what I like about it.
And, wine is about bringing people together, the social part, getting together, and the romance of the wine, the farmer, the working the fields and growing the wine, and then the winemaker bringing it together, the magic part, the science, the art, and then eventually we get to enjoy it at the table with, in a social setting, and that's when it all comes together.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last night with some friends of ours that, wine, we like wine. Whether it's wine, whether it's food or a restaurant, the cellar door, bourbon, whatever it might be, it's nice to enjoy those things. And it's great because we think it does bring people together. But I like to go that one step further. And what's the story behind it? You go to a restaurant, you eat there in Katy, you go, it's great food. Where did it come from? New place opened up, really nice, sweet. You go home, you post on Facebook and go, look at this new place, look at this food. But what's the story behind it? And, to me, restaurants, people, wines, there's always that great story behind it that I think intrigues people more, makes you appreciate the restaurant a little bit more, makes you maybe enjoy or appreciate the wine a little bit more. And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, the fun part about the wine process is finding someone that doesn't know anything about wine and converting them, teaching them how wine pairs, the social part. That's when you really get passionate about it. We've got customers that have been with us 5, 6 years, 10 years that really didn't know anything about wine or didn't know how to drink it or how to taste it or anything about it. And now they've been with us 10 years and we've turned them into straight up wine snobs.
Really? And I'm not ashamed to say I'm a wine snob. I'm absolutely a wine snob. And I don't think that's a negative term. I think it's somebody who kind of has learned a little bit about wine and enjoys wine a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be fair to say?
Absolutely. But, you never know, what you don't know until you learn it. You meet winemakers, you try a new wine, a new vintage, and whatever it may be. It's always constant evolving. It's like Coca-Cola, it's the same every time. With wine, it's never the same.
Yeah, and, to me, I say that to friends who want to get into wine. I always say you have to have an open mind, an open palate. I have some friends that just go, California Cab, that's what I like. Well, try that. No, I like California Cab. And I'm like, no. To fully appreciate wine, you need to kind of explore different regions, different old world, new world, different varietals, because each of them provide something different that's really good and really kind of unique to that land, that terroir, if you will, and that grape varietal and things like that. And you really need to have an open mind.
Exactly. And, people ask you all the time, what's your favorite wine? I'm like, well, you got to give me more than that.
Yeah.
What's the setting?
It's a long list.
What are we eating? Is it hot outside? how am I feeling? Is it December versus August, whatever.
Yeah.
But really, I think the evolution is once you learn a little bit about wine is learning to pair it with, the food, or if you're not having food or fruit or whatever. And that's when you start learning about wine. I thought I knew something, but I didn't know how to pair it. And now we're 10 years into this, and now I think I have a pretty good feel on how to pair wine with food. But, originally I didn't know anything about the pairing part. And that's when you become a wine snob, a wino.
Yeah.
Is when you learn to start, pairing the wine with the food.
See, and I don't think I'm there. Well, I know I'm not there yet because I'm still trying to figure that part out. I know what I like as far as drinking, but as far as pairing, I know what kind of the standards are, white with fish or, reds with meats and, different spicy. You might want a little bit, I know kind of some of that, but I don't know the real integral parts of pairing a wine with certain foods to really maximize enhancing the flavor of the food and getting the most out of that wine at the same time. What I figured out is I like old world wines with food better than I like, Napa wines or something like that. Yeah. So you're going to have to help me out.
Well, you could go on for hours about it, but simply put, the old world wines, the winemakers, they like the wine, the grapes to speak for themselves. So there's not a lot of manipulation or crafting of the wines. Where in, New World, California, there's a lot more manipulation and crafting of the wines. So you get more extraction, bigger fruit, that sort of thing. But in the old world, you get more acid.
You taste the soil.
Taste some of the terroir and the soil.
Yeah.
And so, it's just really comes down to preference. But, you can't be afraid to experiment and try new things.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part. That's why you keep evolving.
Well, it's funny. We had a conversation. You were talking about moods too, what moods you're in. And we talked about that with jazz as well as talking about, like you don't like just, there's something that like when you're in a certain mood, you want to listen to a certain type of music. And the same thing with your wines, if it's hot outside, you're not going to go out there and drink a heavy red. You want something a little light or a light red or a white. It's fascinating the compliments of what brings those flavors out and stuff like that. And, I'm a huge wine person, so and a lot of it came with you as well. But I worked at a wine shop when I was a kid in college, and so I have a huge appreciation for it. And the pairing part is the hardest part. It's when you taste a good wine with a good food, it's just it sets it off. You could have a wine taste and be like, it's okay, and you put it next to like a certain type of food, and it makes it just explode.
Yeah,
and that's the cool thing about a lot of things that he does here. Because again, he's got great food selection here at the Cellar too.
Absolutely.
And so, they can suggest things with what you're drinking and it makes it pop. And so
getting back to the Cellar Door, when you opened this in 2010, you came from the advertising marketing world, things like that. You had a passion for wine, or you were drinking wine, doing things. How did that actually, a lot of us have those dreams and say, hey, here's what I want to do, but you made it happen. So how did you, I want to know how you convinced your wife.
Well, that's a good question. I'm still convincing her.
You're still convincing her.
I'll drink that. Let's take a sip.
No, it's about, again, you hit 40 years old. I think I was 40 and somewhat of an early midlife crisis. Being in corporate world, being unfulfilled, wanting to do something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
I think Preston kind of went through that with the whole music thing, wanting to do something he was passionate about, and so you got to take a chance. You got to roll the dice, and let's do it. Otherwise, what am I doing?
Yeah, you don't want to look back with regret, right? You don't want to have that. I wish I would have done that.
Yeah, you get up, you have to drag yourself to work because you hate what you're doing. Well, in the wine world, it's you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's definitely a struggle. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. When you've had a successful corporate world and you get into the wine world, you get humbled really quick.
Right.
This is definitely the hardest thing.
But I still give your wife a lot of credit, because, I'm passionate about food and wine and things like that, and I'll come up with some ideas and, hey, babe, thinking about this. And she goes, yeah, you might as well forget about that. She shoots me down pretty quick. So I give your wife a lot of credit to support you and say, hey, babe, if that's your dream, let's do it, man. Let's go after it. And in 10 years in this location, you've been successful. I mean, you've done well.
Yeah, we've hung in there. You know, we're obviously we're in a scary time right now.
Sure.
I think this is literally one of the hidden gems. You know, we're talking about what Ron does. I mean, bringing what he brings to Katy, it's a hidden gem. I mean, you just walk in the door, like you drive in the parking lot and you open the door and it's like you went into some kind of Tuscan village, and the vibe here is cool. He's done so much for the community. It's a great story, and I think as a musician, you know, I went really big for a while. I went to the international scene and the whole 9 yards, and I still didn't play that much in Katy because there's just not as many opportunities to play for the jazz thing. And I think the wine thing is the same thing. Like, people have to realize this is out here and they have to support it because it's a big part of who Katy is. I mean, it's such a great atmosphere. And
Katy has a huge wine drinking community. I know a lot of people. I'm sure you guys know a lot. Wine is a thing in Katy. So I don't know another, and maybe there are, but there's not a lot, if there's more than Cellar Door, of wine bars, wine places in Katy.
And they have music. And that's the thing, you know, as a musician, I loved playing here because the scene in Houston is, you know, they've got all these places for live music, and you come out to Katy and there's really not, especially for the jazz idiom. You know, I was running the stuff at the House of Blues, and I always told people, if you live in Katy, there's the Cellars right there. I mean, they have great music. It's a small ambiance. You can talk and you can listen. You can have a great wine. They've got great food. I mean, the place is a literal hidden gem. So I love to see as he grows in the community. I mean, this is something that Katy really needs to drive behind because it's a great staple for us.
I agree, and I think it's a lot of people that just don't realize it's here. I think as we've seen Katy kind of develop over the last 4 or 5 years, everything's kind of been 99 and going west, you know, over to Firethorn, 1463, a lot of new development over there. So I think we need to get out and remind them that we really have some good things, you know, up and down Mason too, and Cellar Door is absolutely one of them. Yeah. Let's talk wines first. We'll get into your menus in a second. So if people are going to come to Cellar Door and they want to, you know, enjoy wine, what are they going to have? What are some options that they have here?
Well,
from your wine list.
You mentioned earlier we've evolved, and over the 10 years we've been here, we have something for everybody. Whether it's the beginner palate, someone that enjoys the sweet wines, the fruit wines, that sort of thing. We make around 8 to 10 different sweet wines ourselves, from blueberry, cranberry, blackberry, that sort of thing. And then for your more sophisticated palate, if you want to call it that, we have Napa Cabs. We have wines from Bordeaux, from Burgundy, pretty much from every region in the world at this point. And if we don't have it, we can get it for you.
Okay.
So you just got to let us know what you're looking for. And we've got relationships with every distributor in the city.
Do you really?
Yeah, we work with all of them.
Okay.
The big ones, the little ones, and we order wine, if you're looking for something. If I can't get it, then you probably can't get it.
Okay, that's great to know. So people that come in and see your list, just because they don't see something that they, you know, are like to drink, because let's be honest, wine's a little bit personal. You know, people Absolutely. Have kind of their lane or what they're into right now or whatever. If they don't see it on the list, just get with you. Don't just not come back. Talk to you about it, and you're going to be happy to help them out.
Yeah, we have several customers. We carry specific wines for them only. And eventually, maybe some of the other clientele will partake in it as well. But we got several.
They're going to look over and see that table and go, why do they keep getting that wine and I don't see it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, it's all preference, and trying to find like holes in the menu that we don't carry. We're always trying to add to the menu, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a variety of Old World, New World, and New World's not just California. So people don't, if people are into, and I've been into, Chile. You have Chile?
We have Chile, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay are kind of the.
Some New Zealand?
We have New Zealand, which is mainly your
whites,
your Sauvignon Blanc, and your Pinot Noir.
Yeah. So all of the New World, when we talk about that, and when we talk about Old World, we're talking, France and Italy, I think, are the two that come to mind for most people right away. But what are some other? Do you have any other Old World?
The big three in the Old World are going to be Spain, France, and Italy.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably throw in Germany in there, but they're more specific to
Riesling,
to Rieslings and that sort of thing. but that's the old world is the big three, and then the new world is, like you said, is going to be, California, Washington,
Australia,
Oregon, South Africa is kind of.
They make some good wines. I've drank a few of theirs that I really like. I've been impressed with some South African wines.
Yeah,
their Shirazes are pretty good.
They do some great stuff down in South Africa, and it's kind of old world meets new.
Okay,
it's considered new world though, and we have everything. You name it. We have about 200 different wines on our menu at this point.
Now, if I come up, obviously I'm a wine guy, so I'm going to drink wine. It's only wine here, right? We don't have anything else we offer.
We because of the TABC, the laws here in Texas, we're a producer of wine. We're not allowed to carry or sell beer or liquor.
Okay.
And so but we do allow folks to bring in beer.
Okay, they can.
Got some coffee.
We do have coffee.
But seriously, they can bring in their own beer. So if you have a husband that doesn't want to drink wine, wife loves wine, they can come in as a couple and still enjoy a meal, hear some great music. He can enjoy his beer, and she can get the wine she likes.
Exactly, and then we'll try to convert them into the wine world.
And we'll work real hard at that.
But our insurance, we don't allow any type of alcohol over 20%.
Okay.
It's not in our purview. It's against TABC, and it's also against our insurance policy.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
I want to get into your menu in just a second, and then some of the other things you do here that you offer to us out here in Katy. But I love, you spoke to it a minute ago, just kind of the feel, the atmosphere in here, this Tuscan kind of vibe that you have going on. Let's describe a little bit, what you've done here as far as trying to create an environment for people who are going to come up and enjoy your place.
Well, I think what we were trying to do initially was the Tuscan feel. Like if you went to Florence and you were in Tuscany, what it would feel like to go to a winery in Tuscany, and have that feel, that environment, and enjoy a glass of wine with that environment around you. And then have maybe like a Preston Smith type of play for you in the background.
I was going to make a joke. I don't see any Preston Smith pictures on the wall that make us the ambiance. That's pretty funny.
You're not Italian.
No, not at all. No.
No, but I think you have a great setup because I think, whether you're wanting to come up and just enjoy dinner, where you're going to sit at a table with you and your wife or maybe another couple, great environment to do that. But you also have off to the side of that main dining space, you have just a fantastic, I'll call it an area of multiple sitting locations where people can come in with a, 4-person, 6-person group, and you've got sofas, you've got chairs, you've got tables. And this is really comfortable sitting where you can just say, hey, we're going to order a couple of charcuterie trays, and we're going to get a couple bottles of wine, got some music playing. We're just going to enjoy ourselves.
When I come in here, the cool thing about this is we'll come in and I'll come see Ron or what have you, and you sit down and it's very the lighting's a little bit more dim and it's very relaxing, and you have a glass of wine and you don't know what time it is. I mean, you literally walk, if you open that door and if it's sunny outside, it's like you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot it was like day. Like it's so relaxing and peaceful.
Yeah,
it's like it's literally a getaway. You shut the door and you walk in, it's a whole different world.
Yeah, because I haven't done it yet, but I'm envisioning coming in here and going, okay, babe, let's sit down, have a nice dinner. We'll start there. But I'm going to want to move over here.
Are you asking me to dinner?
Yeah.
Are you calling me
I'm
babe?
looking right in your eyes, dude.
I thought I was babe.
My bad, babe.
But no, come in, sit down, have dinner, eat the way you want, enjoy your meal the way you should at a table. Yeah. But then to be able to roll over and say, hey, there's music going. I don't want to eat and go home. Let's order another bottle. Let's hang out for a little bit. I mean, you've really created what I think is something pretty cool for people to just come and just relax and enjoy a full meal, great environment, comfortable. I mean, it's just a comfortable space.
It's an experience.
Cool. Yeah,
I mean, whether there's live music or not, some people don't like live music, and you can come in.
Depends on
and
who's
the music
playing,
that's
right,
playing.
Ron?
Yeah, exactly. no trouble players. But the ambiance, I mean, even the music he's got playing on rotation in the afternoon, you come in and it's a very peaceful vibe. It's just, it's real cool. I mean, you can have a conversation. Business meetings. I mean, just bringing people in and talking business in the afternoon. I mean, the place is a perfect spot.
Yeah, it really is. I think people need to just kind of be able to envision that kind of space as we're talking to them about, what they're going to experience when they come up here. And I think you've done a great job. I don't know if this is you, if you get the credit, your wife gets the credit. I don't know who gets credit for designing this space, but whoever did it did a great job.
Yeah, that was kind of a collaboration.
Okay.
Between, 5, 6, 8 people. And everyone has had an opinion, but it worked itself out.
Yeah.
It was a process.
Yeah, but it's been, what's funny is when something's good, it stays. And I don't know that you've really changed that much in here. The ambiance has been relatively the same and successful. I mean, it's the same way as I remember when I walked in the first time. It's just an inviting atmosphere.
It works, right?
Yeah. When something's good, you don't have to change it.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to get it out of the way. You have a great space up here, but let's start jumping into your menu a little bit, because when you first opened, if I remember when we would come up, it was kind of charcuterie boards and things like that. But now you've got a full kitchen going on.
Yeah, our kitchen is small, so we're trying to do a lot. And our chef's been with us about a year now, and he does some pretty amazing things. But initially, the goal currently is anything that comes out of the kitchen is made to pair with wine. And so we're looking to enhance the wine experience with the food, and sometimes it works the other way, where the food will enhance the wine. But
sure.
For the most part, every menu item is chosen to enhance a particular wine or to enhance the wine experience.
Okay. And just giving the folks an idea of what they can expect from the menu. I mean, you go from, just run through some of your kind of maybe your signature type dishes that you have, that you offer. If somebody's going to come out and have dinner, this is what they can expect to get.
Well, we try to have, we got the meat, the fillets, the chicken to go with some of the white wines, and fish to go with the white wines. And then, you mentioned we got flatbreads and hamburgers to go with some of the Malbecs, the Petit Syrah, some of the deeper fruit-forward wines.
Okay.
Then we have some fun stuff, small bites. That's the tuna, the empanadas, all those little small plates that pair with numbers.
Your tuna is fantastic.
The tuna is really good.
Yeah, we've had it twice in the last, I think, week that we've been up here, because it's just that good.
And that's one of the small bites, and you can.
And just so they know, small bite, you're being
he's being kind.
Because it's he's very generous in these small bites. They're a good sized portion, and me and my wife are like, holy cow, we get to eat all this tuna, and you do. You get to eat all that tuna. It's really good.
Yeah. So everything on the menu, all the small bites, small appetizers, are chosen for a reason.
Yeah.
To pair with a particular wine or.
Does the menu change? Are you constantly trying to? I know it's chicken, but do you say we're going to do chicken this way, and then we're going to try chicken this way? Is it just kind of staples on the menu that you found are tried and true, and we just kind of keep it that way?
Yeah, the menu's always evolving. With this gluten-free thing and keto and all that sort of stuff. We have a new flatbread that's cauliflower crust.
There you go.
See, now my wife is in, because that's we're doing keto. So you just hit the chord right there.
Yeah, and this cauliflower crust thing, it's new to me, but it's fantastic. Who would have thought you could make a flatbread with cauliflower and make it taste good?
And it does.
And you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. They have the rice and all that kind of stuff too for cauliflower. It's pretty funny.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so that a lot of that stuff's what you say, beyond my pay grade, but that's why you got an executive chef to help create some of that stuff. And then this gluten thing that's everyone's so concerned about. We've got to move in that direction and have more gluten-free items and so forth. And
I do want to talk about one. I don't know if I'd call it a dish, but one thing that you offer on your menu that my wife and I absolutely enjoyed when we came up last Wednesday with you. It's I don't even want to call it a charcuterie board, because it's really more than that. You get filet on this thing. You get asparagus. You get the tuna that we talked about. You get bacon-wrapped dates. You get all kinds of cheeses, nuts. Tell us about, what is this called?
Well, we call it the wine sampler, and I think it was inspired. We were at Buffalo Wild Wings a couple years ago, and they have their sampler with the chicken wings and so forth.
Right.
I was like, we need a wine sampler. And so that's where that was inspired from, is having something that you can share with 4 people and get to taste everything: tuna, shrimp, chicken. Well, I don't know if we have chicken on that one, but the filet and the bacon wrapped dates, and get a chance to pair it in contrast with the wine you're drinking, and that's where it came from. I think it's probably my favorite item on the menu as well.
It is mine now, because the variety that you get on there, no matter, the first bottle, if you're going to start with a white and go to a red or whatever, there's things on there to continue to have with that, which I thought was brilliant. I don't know who came up with that, but a great idea. And anybody who's coming up with, like you said, 2 people, 4 people, definitely worth trying this particular wine sampler, because at the cost too, it's a great value.
It's a good deal. I mean, we do live in Katy.
Yeah.
So, people, folks live on a budget out here.
Sure.
And so we have to be conscious of that. But the wine's not very, like you said, if you want to learn how to pair wine with food, it's a great start.
It's a great point,
because you get to try different flavors and see how your palate, and everybody's palate is different. That's one thing that it's hard to understand is,
there's not a right answer. There's not a wrong answer.
There's a technical answer. Like,
sure.
A wine can be flawed, but beyond that, if a wine is balanced and technically speaking, it's good. It's just preference.
Sure.
So what you like versus what Preston likes and what I like may be 3 different things.
Yeah, makes sense. I might like a little more acid. He may not want so much acid in there.
And then, like, kind of the evolution part is, you may like a cab with a filet, but you may like a Chardonnay with a tuna, and so forth and so on. And the only way to do that is to experiment.
Sure. Makes perfect sense.
That's another thing, is his staff is pretty knowledgeable too. So when you come in to experiment like that, like somebody that doesn't know that much about wines, you don't have to be intimidated, because the people here know what they're talking about. They can put you on the right track, and they're very good at identifying kind of what your palate is like. What do you like? And they can pair things up. So
what are you currently drinking? And then I can kind of steer you in the right direction.
Everybody here, that's
great point.
Yeah. So they're good at that. And that's, when I first came in before I met Ron, I came in here to check it out. I said, heard of the winery, and they turned me on a couple of pretty good wines on my way in. So
yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about a couple of other things you do. We came up this past Wednesday and participated in a wine tasting, which I thought was fantastic. And I thought for, what you're charging to get to drink through 6 wines we had on Wednesday night from Rhone.
Typically it's 5 wines.
5 wines. Okay.
We had a family in from the Rhone Valley, St. Christia, and they had 6 wines, so we didn't know which one to exclude.
Sure. So you gave us a bonus.
So we invited the whole family.
But that's great. That's a great deal that you do. I know people who want to say, hey, look, I want to start exploring wines and get into wine a little bit. To know that you offer something like this up here consistently. It's every Wednesday. Is it every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday. And the concept is to bring the wine tasting room from whoever we're featuring to Katy. So you basically, if you were in the Rhone Valley, this is the same experience you would get there. We bring it back here. We have someone that comes in that actually walks you through the wines, educates you, gives you the background, the history, the entire romance of the story behind the wine. And then you learn about the wine, you get a little educated. And we do it in about an hour, so it's not super, it takes 7 to 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, you're done.
And it's very reasonably priced. It depends on what wines are coming in, but usually between $20 and $30 per person.
Right, and for our wine club members, it's for our platinum members, it's complimentary. It's included in the membership, and for the other memberships, it's half price.
That's a great deal.
So it is a great deal.
Yeah, you can't beat that. But for someone who's wanting to learn more about different types of wines, I think it's a great thing that you do, because we did Rhone this last Wednesday. Tell me if I got this right. Sonoma this week.
We have Sonoma this week. And Sonoma's huge, but we're going to cover a little bit of Sonoma, as best we can.
Sure.
5 or 6 wines again this week. And you'll get to learn a little bit of Sonoma, get a chance to taste what Sonoma has to offer, from white to red, that sort of thing.
Maybe that'll be a lot of fun.
Little bubbles. And
sure.
But, and then, God willing, with this whole thing we're going through, we got Greek.
That's what I was going to be excited about. That's going to be a fun one.
Yes, and in Greece, I mean, it's going to be new for me too. I'm just learning about Greece. It's Greece has been making wine for thousands of years.
I mean, that's kind of where wine started, wasn't it? One of the places.
One of the original places.
Yeah.
So they've got their own culture and their own history. They haven't done the best job of marketing to the new world. And so a lot of
I don't think they didn't export a lot, right? They just made wines to keep kind of, for families and just kind of made it locally and for the village or whatever, and that was it. Now they're starting to, hey, man, maybe we ought to jump on this wine thing and kind of start exporting a little bit.
Exactly. And so it's an opportunity to learn, get out of your box and learn something about, just saying the name of the varietal is challenging. So you get to get to taste the wines, learn the history of the romance of the whole Greek thing. That's one of my favorite. I'm excited about Sonoma, but in 2 weeks, learning about Greek. And the guy that's going to be doing the presentation was born in Athens.
Oh, wow.
He's got a PhD from Texas Tech, and so he's Greek, but he's also one of ours. He's from Texas.
Yeah.
So it's really neat.
It's crazy to me how many people go to all these other places and do cool things, and you go, they're from Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas, I know I'm getting off there, but it's pretty cool that Texas has a big influence from people from Texas who do some pretty cool things.
Yeah, and Texas is growing up in the wine world. We've been doing this for a while. I think Don McPherson was kind of the pioneer.
Yep.
Out there in Lubbock area.
High Plains.
And now we're going on 20, 30 years, and we're starting to kind of figure out what our soil's all about, what works well.
What grapes grow well here, yeah.
And, we're not competing with California as much. We're doing our own thing.
Yeah, we're being Texas.
We're doing our own thing, and slowly the wineries are embracing these varietals that work well here. And so it's exciting. We got some...
I will tell you that we went about 7 or 8 years ago, first time to Fredericksburg area, tasting wines, and we're like, it's all right. It was fun to go, but it was all right as far as wines. It wasn't, we didn't buy a whole lot. We went this past October, a few months ago, and had some friends who have really been into the Texas wine world a little bit deeper than we had, kind of pointed us in the right direction of some that we really needed to try that they thought were high quality. Man, we found some wines that are really good that we ended up buying a bunch of wine and bringing it home. So I think Texas, to your point, is really making strides on kind of figuring out who they are and what works and making some good wine. Really are.
They're doing the bourbon thing too. I mean, Texas is stepping up in multiple areas right now. That the bourbon scene here has got some world class bourbons.
Would you expect anything else from Texas?
Whiskeys and bourbons. But yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's
a big
state,
Texas,
man.
Like, hey, if somebody else is doing it, we're going to do it.
We're going to give it a shot. So.
Yeah, and that's part of the process in Texas is, we're talking about old world and new world. And when you grow up in France, the wine is part of your livelihood from the time you're born. They grow up with it.
Yeah.
You grow up in Texas, you drink beer.
Right.
That's what Dad gives you when you're 16. You get your first drink.
12.
Or whatever.
When you go 12, or what'd you say?
When you go to hunt, basically in a deer stand. Here's a beer. Yeah.
And so educating people about wine and what it's willing to offer, it's that's what we're doing here. We're educating the masses, and it takes time. We got to change people's attitudes. My 2 kids grew up with wine.
Right.
And so, like my daughter, Emily, who works here, she knows more about wine at 24 than I did at 44.
Yeah. You're right. I've had conversations with her. I'm very impressed with her knowledge of wine.
And my 12-year-old, he was 2 when we started this place, so it's going to be in his blood. It's in part of his culture, and that's what growing up in France or Spain is like. Well, growing up here, it's a little different, and so we're just educating people about wine and where it fits in, and hopefully make it part of your day-to-day life.
Cole's going to do well. He plays trumpet too. So
does he play trumpet?
He plays. He's learning the trumpet too. So the kid's going to be an all-star.
Who influenced him there?
I don't know. He obviously didn't hear me play.
I think he wanted to play an instrument. Preston may have influenced that a little bit.
They called me and said, "Hey, Cole's going to play trumpet." I'm like, "Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here we go."
So we know Sonoma this week, which is going to be, what is that, the 18th, 25th. Fingers crossed. We got Greek. Do we know anything past that?
We kind of take it week to week. I think we the first, is it May? I guess the first Wednesday in May, I want to do like Cabernet.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You get to taste 5 different Cabernets from around the globe. Compare.
That'll be a fun comparison, just to kind of see the difference in.
Yeah, I get to compare California versus Bordeaux, that sort of thing, and Washington, and maybe throw in a, dare I say, a Texas Cabernet.
I was say in Argentina too. I know they're more known for Malbec, but they make some decent Cabernets.
Exactly, and that way, people get to experience a little bit, see stylistically the differences between, fruit forward Cabernet from California versus something that's aged a little bit more from Bordeaux.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Another thing that he does here, especially as you get into wines, is he does his wine club, which is a huge.
Well, we're going to definitely
talk about that. Yeah, so I was going to say you need to touch on that too, because somebody's learning. That's a great thing that he does. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get there for sure. Staying on the food subject, after we've talked about the wine tastings, and when they do the wine tasting, let me touch on this real quick. The menu's open. So, we ordered the board so we could have just a variety of things, but people can order dinner, or they can wait until the class is over and that tasting's over, and then they can stay and have dinner and order some more wine, right? When we talk about $20 to $30 per person based on the distributor and the wine that we're representing that night, that's just for all 5 tastings. But as far as food, they can order whatever they want.
Correct. We for I guess the last 4 or 5 years we were doing a wine dinner once a month, but we spent so much time focusing on the food, the wine kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, and then the stress of trying to pair the wines and all that sort of thing. We'll still do wine dinners from time to time, but we got back to the basics of learning about the wine and making the wine the focal point, and that's kind of what we're doing on Wednesday night. Is we want the wine to be the focal point and give you guys. You can order what you want with the wine. And if you need some suggestions, like what to pair, we can make suggestions. But we want to focus on the wine experience versus, a 5-course meal. And then the wines are kind of secondary. So we switched that format. So like I said, basically it's bringing that wine experience from the tasting room here to Katy and getting to experience it, whether that be, the winemaker, or it could be the distributor or whoever that's coming in representing the wines. They're the experts on the wines, and that's the focal point, getting back to the wine and letting the food kind of be the secondary part of it.
Sure. You also, let's talk about your hours. You're open, because I want to touch on something, but I don't want to get off track. So you're open when?
Well, we just
that's why I kind of caught myself there. So let's talk about the hours.
Yeah, obviously we're all going through this together, and so we changed our hours from 3 to 10.
Okay,
and that's most of the time wine drinking hours.
Sure. And that's Monday. All week, 7 days a week. It's
Friday and Saturday we're open a little later till midnight. Right. The rest of the week we're open till 10. Sunday we do have a brunch. So if you're looking,
is that just on Sunday or Saturday and Sunday?
Right now we're doing Sunday.
Just Sunday. Okay.
If the demand's there, we'll add Saturday.
So let's talk about that real quick. Brunch on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going really well. If obviously with brunch you're looking at mimosas or poinsettias, that sort of thing.
Sure. Champagne, bubbly,
and so our chef, Chef KJ, he's making everything homemade, from everything from the biscuits. Today we did a prime rib, and he's doing a great job with it. And we're still learning to see what Katy wants, what the consumer wants, and we'll adapt. But I think it's going really well. We're doing kind of a small buffet with some select niche items like your eggs Benedict or your omelets.
And I like how you set it up, because it's kind of tiered.
Right, exactly.
It's like if you want just what's on the buffet, there's some good options there. You can just order that and pay this price.
Exactly.
But if you say, well, I want a little bit off the buffet, but I'd like to have the eggs Benedict, then you're just going to pay a little bit more, and we're going to go make your nice eggs Benedict for you, and you can go get some of this cool French toast you had. I don't know what it was called last week, but that was really good. It was like a French toast pudding or bread pudding, or
exactly.
So it's kind of tiered as to what you want to have, and I thought that was really cool the way you guys are setting that up.
Yeah, and it gives KJ the flexibility to change the buffet from week to week.
Yeah.
You can kind of, whatever's seasonal or whatever's going on for that week, he'll change the 5 or 6 items that we offer on the buffet. And then, like I said, this was the first time we did the prime rib. We want to do some niche items, like maybe once a month. Next week, we're talking about doing the smoked salmon and shrimp. Try to get some folks out to
Smoked salmon, just as smoked salmon, not like on my Eggs Benedict.
Like smoked salmon and shrimp would be part of like a premium buffet.
Yeah.
We'll have a basic buffet, and then we'll have the
Sounds
premium.
really good.
I'm excited about it.
I may see you next Sunday.
Okay, yeah, and the chilled boiled shrimp that you find.
Yeah.
So we want to give that a try. We plan on doing the prime rib once a month.
Okay.
And then maybe, and like I said, we're learning. We're taking suggestions on what Katy wants and what they're looking for, but maybe have a premium item each week that we rotate.
I'll tell you, when we go to restaurants, my wife will tell you as well, a staple for me is Eggs Benedict. That's kind of how I judge a restaurant. If you're going to do brunch, if you say you have Eggs Benedict, I want to know that you can cook it the right way and make it the right way. I will say he did a great job last week. We came in, my wife and I both ordered Eggs Benedict, and really, really good. So we were like, okay, this is cool. This is off to a good start.
So we passed the.
You absolutely passed the test. It was really good. So, have you been up for the brunch yet? You better say yes, because you've been here a long time. Have you been up for the brunch yet?
I have not, due to my schedule.
Okay.
I work on weekends, so.
Not anymore, right? You got some.
Well, the next 2 weeks I'll be at brunch.
Did you work today?
No, that's why I'm with you. we're on the shutdown and everything right now, so
we got to give him a hard time, Ron.
Oh, absolutely.
So brunch is really cool. That's on Sundays. Open at 3. So can people who come up, do you have some kind of happy hour or specials from 3 to a certain time, or is it just a regular menu?
Yeah, we have the happy hour pretty much Monday through Friday, 3 to 7.
Okay.
And that's when you can try some of the small bites, like the pepper dews and the bacon wrap dates.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Some of the fun that we do, I can never remember, but the Greek grape leaves.
Something wrapped in those?
We got those now. I'm excited about those. But always looking for items that pair with wine.
Sure.
And those are really good. But if you haven't had the bacon wrap dates.
Those are fantastic. I mean, those are so good.
Or the pepper dews. Those are my 2 favorites.
Haven't had the pepper dews.
It's a South African fruit. It looks like if you took a jalapeno and a tomato and married them.
Okay.
They're red, and they're
a tomato with spice
and a little spice. You can't get too crazy with spice because it doesn't pair with wine too much.
Yeah.
But you put a little cream cheese and some bacon on it, and it's fantastic.
I'm gonna have to try those now. You've got me intrigued.
Absolutely, those are my favorite. That and the bacon wrap dates. So we're always pushing those on people. Hey, you gotta try these.
And rightfully so with those bacon wrap dates. Those are fantastic. You've had those.
Yes, bacon goes well with anything, though. I pretty much
wrap it around whatever.
I mean, you can put bacon on anything, and it's going to be tasty.
Okay, so you got some great deals on the bites. What about wines? Do you do any kind of flight? If somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I want to, just an ounce and a half pour of a few different things that you want to expose me to and kind of teach me about."
Right. Anything. We got away from doing flights just because the logistics have opened up a lot of bottles. But we have about 30 wines by the class.
Okay.
And we always pour a taste. If you want to try something before you buy it, we'll pour you a taste of it. And if it's not what you're looking for, that's fine. We'll just move on to something else.
Yeah.
But kind of fun. What we were talking about, the getting back to the menu, we just added some lettuce wraps. Getting back to the keto.
Love lettuce wraps.
Lettuce wraps with chicken, shrimp,
what
was the other? Yeah, chicken or shrimp, I think is what we're starting with. So that'd be fun, and it's healthy. And
is he doing kind of a peanut sauce? I'm just picking here because I'm like, I've had some lettuce wraps with these
You're making me hungry.
Asian peanut sauces that are like phenomenal.
Stop it.
So just a suggestion.
You're getting thirsty and hungry now.
Yeah. So, okay. And then as we roll into the evening, we touched on it with Preston being here, music. How does the music work here?
Well, what we've kind of evolved to is we've tried the whole gamut of bands and that sort of thing. We've moved, I call it background music, I guess. Jazz, we got flamenco guitar, and then maybe we'll go with a songwriter, guitarist, but nothing more than that. We
And I think that's great for your setting because, to your point, you want something that you can hear and it kind of elevates the mood and the ambiance a little bit, but you still want to be able to have a conversation with whoever you're with. Is that kind of, am I thinking along the right way?
Exactly. I guess Preston and I, we started a jazz night on Sundays about 2 or 3 years ago. And what we found is we just evolved it. We started bringing jazz in on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights as well. And so we don't have a jazz night per se because it's kind of
Part of the menu.
Yeah, it's every night now.
Yeah.
Well, and right now we're doing Wednesday through Saturday is our music. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday we're not doing music right now.
A lot of the music's like easy listening. The guys that play here are all pros, and
Yeah.
they're not playing for like a concert. So if you want to listen to good music, you sit and listen.
So
but
they
the same
understand.
factor that you can have a conversation, like people can talk about. It's a cool thing about
They
the Cellar.
understand the environment and they play accordingly.
They do. There's a sound level. You don't see a lot of Ron having to walk around and say, turn it down, turn it down. Like these guys are playing as the ambiance, but they're good enough where if you know music, you can appreciate it.
Sure.
And if you don't know music, it's not overwhelming. It's not a concert. It's more of a color in the atmosphere of what's going on. But again, me as a musician, I could sit down and have a glass of wine and listen, and I can hear them clear as day. The acoustics in here are great for music.
So what time does it start? I'm assuming maybe Friday, Saturday is a little bit later. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday starts a little earlier with the music.
We start around 7:30 and run to 10:30, depending on who's playing.
All 4 nights.
All 4 nights.
Okay, cool.
The other thing, I guess the best word for it is intimate.
Yeah.
When you listen to the music, this is an intimate setting. Like you're literally right next to the musician. So
even though other people are here, you and whoever you're with, you're going to feel like, hey, they're playing this for me.
yeah, I mean, it's a cool vibe. It really is.
The amazing thing is, and Preston can speak to this, is the quality of the music. Some of these jazz guys are world-renowned talents. I mean, Dean James and Rod Davenport and
Preston Smith.
Will Fortune.
But I'm getting these guys. I mean, we're a small venue, but these guys are coming and playing for us. I'm just blown away by the talent that we're able to get, that Preston has introduced us to, mainly because, I hate to say it, but jazz is kind of a dying art, and we're getting them out here. We're just getting these amazing talents to come out here and play for us. And I wish Katy would appreciate what they're missing and come out, because these guys are amazing. And
Well, hopefully we'll get them to do that.
oh, it's incredible. Like,
And you're getting that feedback from your clientele that's saying, hey, man, we had no idea jazz, and they're giving you that positive feedback. Obviously, you keep having them back, so they're doing something right.
Well, I think what Preston and I have, what he's done, what I've done for him for wine, he's done for me for jazz. I mean, I didn't know anything about jazz, and now I don't want to say I'm a snob, but I definitely appreciate the talent that comes out here, and I'm just blown away every time Dean or Rod or Preston plays. I'm just like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
We're getting these guys for what we're able to pay, and they're coming out, and Katy's missing out. They don't know what they're missing until they come out and see these guys in person. They're phenomenal.
Well, when I had tried to, when Ron and I were talking about this, and as I started playing here, for me, the ambiance lent itself to a listening crowd a little bit. But these guys like Dean, he's a national. He's on the same record label as I am. Plays all over the world as far as his music, and he tours lightly. And Will plays all over the place, and Roderick. All these guys, Glenn, all these guys are fantastic players, but they love playing here because it's appreciative. Ron treats people right, and you don't get to see an artist of that caliber and that intimate of a deal, because usually it's a track gig. So
Yeah.
we'll use the backgrounds for like My CD or different stuff they've recorded, and they take themselves out. So you're able to play with those tracks, so you can control the sound of the rhythm section to whatever value you want. So, I pull my band way back on there, and I just sit there and I practice my horn and play stuff. And you find yourself really getting into some cool creative spaces as a musician.
So when people don't know a lot about jazz, trumpet is what you play.
Yes.
What are some other instruments that are typical jazz type? Saxophone.
Like what you would hear here.
Yeah.
You would hear a lot of instrumental. The guy that he's talking about on the guitar, the acoustic guitar, is pegged for this type of ambiance. And it is kind of a jazz. It's not. It goes both ways on the guitar stuff. Piano, trumpet, and sax are usually your primaries.
Okay.
I do more work on flugelhorn because it's a little bit deeper. It's more like a voice.
Yeah.
The trumpet's a little more abrasive. And I'll mute, I'll throw a harmon mute in, kind of like what Miles did. And so I can really control the volume coming out because, again, depending on how many people are in the room is how loud you can play. And so a lot of these guys are really good at kind of scaling back a little bit if there's only like 15, 20 people here. And then when there's a lot of people here, you can bring that rhythm section up a little bit. And it's a mood, too. And some crowds in here, when you come in, you can just play real laid back the whole time, and everybody loves it. They don't say anything. They just chill back and drink their wines. Other nights, it gets a little more pumped up. They're playing a little more fast-paced stuff. People are involved.
A little energy
clapping.
going on.
It's always different. And so for
That's
the
cool.
artist side, from me as a performer, you feel like you're really communicating with the crowd, and you're not controlling, an 8 to 10 piece band. It's just you and maybe like me and Dean will play, or Dean and I don't teach English, but Dean and I will play, and it's great because we're talking back and forth and we're doing our thing, and you forget, what's around you, and the people that are sitting there are like, whoa, and it's just he's got some heavy hitters that come in here now that know about the cellar. The trick now is to get people to come out and see it.
Yeah, and definitely when you come, you get to enjoy the Cellar Door with all the things that they offer. So that's just I would say the Cellar Door is a star, and the bonus is getting to hear all this great jazz music.
Without question, the jazz and wine thing itself, and Ron and I have talked about this at length. I mean, as my career and stuff grew musically, it's fascinating to me the relationship that wine and jazz has.
Yeah,
it's a match made. It's the same thing as the bourbon thing. That's how we got into the bourbon podcast as well. It fits itself well. The audience is a little bit older. It's got that not as sophisticated, but it's got that classy type vibe to it. Like the music and the wine, like it's kind of classy to sit down and enjoy a really good wine. Same thing as a really good bourbon and listening to really good jazz. And so, anyways.
Absolutely. So that covers the music part, but you also do this is all about wine at Cellar Door. I mean, it's as you said before, the star is the wine, and everything else kind of builds to make the wine a little bit better, whether it's the music, the food, and everything. So you do a wine club.
Yeah, we have.
Talk to us about the different
options
we have in the wine club.
I'll let Preston talk
I am
about the wine.
Are you a member?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm like the hair club president. I'm not just a member. I love the wine club. Like even if you forget about the wine club for a couple weeks, you get this or a couple months, you get this surprise like, the wine club, and you come in, and you get a whole bunch of bottles of wine, and they tell you that's for me. I love it because Ron will come in and say, hey, we got this. I'm like, go, you know what you're doing, and we'll take it home, and it's like a gift that keeps giving for a couple weeks. At least I'll pop up a bottle of wine, and he does a great job, and so does the staff of getting you just a wide variety of what you want. Or if you're just if you're a red guy, they can peg it. And the star system makes it great. You can get a really good bottle for
now you're
2 to 4.
You're talking about things that people are going, what the heck's the star system? So,
Ron, would you like to talk about it?
Let's talk
this
about
is your baby. I
got
get
Preston
excited.
all excited.
I'm excited.
Holy cow.
Well, when we designed the wine club, we weren't sure how to go about it. So what we decided is we let the consumer choose the wines they want. Instead of forcing you to take 2 bottles that you may or may not like, we designed it. You get to choose based on how many stars a particular wine is rated. So we have 3 different wine clubs. I'll just tell you about the gold. If you're a gold member, you get 2 stars a month, and if you're a platinum member, you get 4 stars a month. And then you can spend those stars based on the wines you choose. And you choose the wines. And, of course, we can point you in the right direction. But in addition to that, we give discounts on our food. If you're a wine club member, you get discounts, 10% off your food when you come in during the course of the month. Some of our regulars end up paying for their wine club with the savings. So then they basically get 2 or 4 bottles free.
I want to get back just for clarification real quick. You said if you're a wine club member, if you're a platinum, you get
4 stars.
4 stars.
And if you're a
gold member, you get 2 stars.
And so when people need to understand that you collect these stars, and then when they look at the bottles of wine, wines are assigned different number of stars, correct?
Correct.
Exactly.
And then you get to pick whatever wines you want. You're kind of, this is currency up here. You spend your stars.
Exactly. You can save them up like some people do, or we get other people that come in, they use them the first day they're available.
Sure.
And then in addition to that,
it's a really cool concept.
It's a little different, and we're empowering the consumer to pick what you like. If you want me to pick, or you want our staff to pick for you, we're happy to do so.
Yeah, and if you don't come up for a month or two, as far as getting wines, it's no big deal because you've just accumulated those, and now you can get more when you do come up.
Exactly, you can save them up, or if you're out of town or whatever, you just accumulate the stars and you can use them at a later time.
Well, the rollover is the part that's cool too. Like I said, I mean, for us, and as busy as we get, if you don't come in for a month or two or what have you, then you can come in, you get like a big surprise. And you've got like 16 stars saved up, and you can get some really good ones.
You start shopping.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's awesome.
So let's go ahead.
And that also ties into the Wednesday night for as a member, for Platinum members. It's your Wednesday night tasting is included in the membership, and for the Gold members, it's half price.
And if let me just do the math here real quick, and I'm not going to say I'm the sharpest tool in the shed, but if I'm paying, what's the cost on the Platinum?
The Platinum's $59.
That's for a family, couple, whatever.
Yeah, however Yeah,
me and my wife, we pay
Absolutely.
that. It's our stars.
Exactly.
If I come up Wednesday,
yeah,
I get one tasting free.
If you you and your wife come together, you get both tastings free.
So basically, you just paid for my membership.
Exactly.
Correct.
I mean, how can you not want to join the club? Because not only do you get to take advantage of the bottles and the star system, which I think is a great idea, but I get to taste through these wines every Wednesday to figure out which ones I like and which ones I don't without having to, sometimes you go to the grocery store and you look and you go, I don't know, let's try this one. You take it home and you go, well, that sucked. I bought the bottle and it's not what I like. And this way, you really get to try stuff before you buy it or take it home. So
exactly. And then we always have discounts on Wednesday night. So if you want to take a bottle home, it's at the retail price instead of the restaurant price.
Sure, that makes sense. That's a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on your tickets. I mean, there's plenty. It's a great concept. He's done a great job with that.
Yeah,
I'm a
really
huge fan of it. So
I almost feel like we're taking advantage of you, Ron. That's a great deal, man. I don't know how people wouldn't want to join that.
Wednesday night's my favorite night. It really is. Yeah. I wish we could extend it and do it every night. Hopefully, at some point we can. But as long as the demand's there, I mean, we'll add other nights and do a lot more tastings.
So we said $59.95 for the Platinum.
Right.
The Gold is how much a month?
It's $32, and you get 2 stars, basically.
And then half price on Wednesdays.
Half price on
Still
Wednesdays.
a great deal.
And we just added a Silver Club for people that want to try it out. I think it's $16, and you get 1 star for someone that wanted to try it out. And we still get discounts on.
Is there any kind of, do you ask for a commitment for a period of time?
No, we do it month to month.
Month to month. So I mean,
so you can cancel, or you go out of town. You can put it on hibernation or whatever.
Okay. But why would you do that? Because they roll over. So again, that's the thing for me. Like I've been in strands where I've been super busy and on the road or whatever, and I come back 3 and 4 months later, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
My wife's like, hey, we got to go to the cellar.
Got 6 bottles.
That's what I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to come see Ron too. I want to come see Ron too.
Thanks.
So, I got you, bud. I got you.
So I'm going to touch on one of the things I want to make sure I talk about, and then you can tell me if there's something else we need to, mention or. You have this great space where we do the tastings for the Wednesday wine night. Do you do any kind of events? What somebody's having a big anniversary party for mom and dad, or doing their 40th anniversary, or any? Do you do things like that up here?
Yeah, absolutely. Our events up to 50.
Up to 50 people.
The big one we see is birthdays. We had some wedding receptions,
Rehearsal dinners.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Family reunions, even for 21 and older. And we love to have groups of 25 to 50. It's a great venue.
And even if we just have a group of 10 or 12, and we say, hey, we want to do dinner, and we all are into wine, let's do it at the Cellar Door. You're going to put us in a nice little area where we have our space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, so definitely.
What else do we want to talk about with Cellar Door, Preston? Ron?
Preston?
You've been up here for all these years. I mean, as a patron to this establishment for all these years, I mean, give us some highlights. What do you love about it?
To clarify, I don't work at the cellar. I'm not like, I'm not.
That's why I said patron. I didn't say employee.
No, I know. But when people listen to us, they're probably thinking, God, Preston must work
How much
for
he
him.
getting paid?
Yeah, no. I'm literally a customer, and I've done a lot of stuff with him musically as well. But a lot, even with the music side, I just introduced him to the artist and got them in here. Like that's not. I believe in the product, and in what I do, and with music and coaching and the different things I do. I don't put my name behind something unless I believe in it. It's just like your podcast. I think you do a great job with your podcast. And I think that the cellar is one of those areas where I want to be successful. It's not just because Ron's a good guy. He is a good guy. But it's also, he's put, I'm in for things that are people that are passionate about things. Yeah. And he's passionate about wine. And he's passionate about what he does with the cellar. And I'm 100% vested in it. I think it's a great product. I think that people have got to come check this place out because it's hidden. But that's what the beauty of it is it's kind of like in this little shopping mall and you open the door and it's like, whoa, like everybody I've ever brought in here, as soon as they walk in, they're in love with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you want to tell all your friends about it, but then you kind of don't because you're like, this is a great place. I don't want everybody. Yeah. But no, we absolutely want everybody to come check us out. I think you have a great place here, Ron. I mean, you're going to see a lot more of us coming up here and hanging out. And I think to your point, Katy needs to be made aware that this is here and it's really cool and offers all kinds of things. I mean, it's not just come buy a bottle of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does like, we've done some little jazz festivals, like mini jazz festivals here. And we've brought gumbo cook-offs and stuff like that. Some real creative stuff that, whether you're into wine or you're into jazz or you're into food, you can find one of those three or you can get all three. You can come in for one reason and you get a triple threat. Everything here is very well done.
And who knows, maybe there'll be a little wine and bottle share up here at this place and get it exposed to some new people and see what happens. You never know what might happen.
Yeah, I mean I mean that's again, if you're trying to figure out wine, this is your stop that you want to go to.
Well, we need to get you got some free time now. We need to get you back over here playing for the.
I've never heard him play other than his recorded stuff.
Once you launch his podcast, we'll see if we can get a little free concert to the people that were listening, and we'll do something. I'll come in and play for free for a little while, and
I think that'd be fun.
I say I'm playing for free, but I get wine, so it'll work its way out. No, it's
you might be on the plus side of that.
We'll throw you a
poor Ron.
I've been in hibernation for a little bit with writing and stuff like that. I'm kicking this podcast off, so I'll be back out.
Yeah, we'll get him out of here. When did we do that one time? Didn't we do a painting thing?
So
that was cool.
Yeah, when my On the Surface album came out, the one that hit big. We did the album cover is real cool. It's unique because I was beneath the surface. I was underwater. And so if you've seen it, like it was an underwater photography shot. And with the On the Surface, I was standing in a pool and there was candles behind me. And so like there was these lights. It's just a real cool effect. And the picture's real cool. So they were doing this painting thing. And so they painted my album cover.
Oh, wow.
Is what it was.
That's
and so they had a whole bunch of people in there and they're all painting the album cover. And then I signed them all. And it was pretty cool. The painting, the painting and wine thing's real cool too. Cause like for me, I cannot draw a stick figure. Like if you ever play Pictionary, do not pick me because I'm horrible.
But talking about that brings up a great point. We were visiting with your wife earlier with my wife, and she was telling us that, and I want to, is it okay to talk about this once a month? She does.
Lately we've been doing like a painting, but lately she's been doing these painting the wine glasses.
Okay.
Oh, that is cool.
So it's a craft kind of thing, whether it's painting a picture or doing something with glasses, or it's going to be something kind of artsy and crafty that we're going to do while we're having some wine and maybe a little, bites of food and things like that.
Yeah, I think we should paint Preston or something.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into abstract art, skinny bald guy with a belly. Yeah.
This is Wednesday, one Wednesday a month. Is it a particular Wednesday of the month? First, second, third, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, we kind of schedule them, as we can. When come up with an idea, we'd like to do them once a month.
Okay. And I thought that was really cool. When you started talking about the painting of your cover, it just reminded me that we talked about that with his wife, and I think that's a lot of women like to get together and do a painting and wine kind of night. I know.
And here's the deal: you get that going on. You and your wife go out. You come out here. They go craft. You can sit outside on the deck when it's nice outside, have a glass of wine, do what you do. Chat with your boys. You got two different things going on, and at the end you have dinner. I mean, that's the cool thing.
Covers everything.
Well, and the way the room's set up, they could be in one room. you're on like where we're at right now is a completely different feel.
Yeah.
So
Whole
it's
different
almost
feel.
like in a whole different building.
So we do have a patio outside too. So
We have a small little patio. It seats about 25.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we want to talk about, Ron, before we finish up?
Well, I think one thing, we did this for Preston. We do private labels. So, for weddings.
Okay.
We did some labels.
We did one for when my brandy was coming out with Fedora. We did a Fedora wine and stuff like that. And I got hold on a second, but yeah, he does some great job. But those labels are cool. Like
private labels are fun if you want to do something for someone's getting married, or you want to give out something for Christmas, or real estate agents, that sort of thing. The private labels are a nice touch to promote your business, or whatever you're doing at the time.
So if they're going to do a private label, they come in and work with you, obviously, in designing the label.
Correct.
And then picking out what kind of wine they want to.
Exactly. They pick out the wine they want. And, we do, we charge, I think, $50 to design the actual label. But then after that, you're paying for the bottles.
That's pretty cool.
So if you buy.
It's a great idea, like you're talking about, for gifts and things like that, self-promotion that's an awesome idea.
Exactly. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun. When you go to a party or something for a birthday gift or something, you take a bottle with their picture on it, and people love it. They're like, oh, my God.
Now, once we do the $50 design of the label, is there a minimum number of bottles that you can do?
No, we don't have the $50. Just pay the artist for his time. He designs it, and then you're just paying for the bottles. The regular. So
if somebody
price.
wants to just get 6, they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's very cool, because a lot of times when you do something, it's like that first initial investment, you got to get so many, it's kind of tough and kind of deters you from doing it. But this is $50, and then you just buy the bottles. That's a great deal.
Yeah, I did it for a show.
Did you
I had
really?
a show in Houston, and I'm always pushing, the Cellars wines too. And so we did one, and it was when we were first starting out the Fedora thing, and they sold out immediately.
That's very cool.
It's real neat. It's a real cool touch to have that personal label.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think we covered a lot. We miss anything?
Not that I
Preston would know, wouldn't he?
I'm just hanging.
We drag Preston in here. He's the color for the show.
I want to make sure we tell everybody, we talked about you're on Mason, but what's the address? I mean, what's the actual address of?
It's 829 South Mason. We're about a mile from I-10 going south.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you've got Facebook. They can find you on Facebook, follow you there, see kind of what's going on with the Cellar Door.
Exactly. We've got our website, Cellar Door Katy.
Okay, cellardoorkaty.com. Okay. Facebook, Cellar
Instagram.
Door. Is it Cellar Door Katy on Facebook too?
Yes.
Okay, and Instagram?
And we have Instagram. I think it's all the same.
Twitter?
No, not on the
okay.
Twitter. Twitter's tricky, but
It is a little tricky.
It is a little tricky.
And then, of course, my stuff with my website and stuff.
Say again?
I said my website and stuff, too, I need to throw out there, too.
Yeah, I want you to touch again one more time on your whole podcast and everything.
Well, the podcast, of course, I mean, Rob's on
Are we talking music?
Rob's on my podcast, so so if you want to hear more of Rob, you could. He's been on my episodes, but you could find the podcast on the iCast, or what's the iPhone one called?
You can do Apple, you can do Google, you can do Spotify,
all your major podcasts. You just look for Bourbon
Addict,
Whiskey and
Stitcher,
Jazz. Bourbon Whiskey and Jazz, and you can find anything about my music as well on PrestonsmithJazz.com. So if you're looking for the podcast, or if you're looking to check out the music and stuff like that, you can go to Preston Smith Jazz, or just search Bourbon Whiskey and Jazz, and
you just can't friend him on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, you can friend my second profile. You can't my first. Yeah, they kind of put a cap on you on that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I get 5,000. So I hit 5,000. I opened up a second account, and we're getting pretty deep in that one too. So, but it's my major marketing tool. So, yeah.
Oh.
Instagram though, you can have as many as you want, huh?
That's true. Or you can do a page on Facebook. So.
Or you can do a page, and same with Twitter. You can have as many as you want.
Well, cheers, fellas.
Man, I appreciate you guys coming on. Ron, thank you for having a little conversation with us and talking about the Cellar Door. Definitely want to get everybody up to Cellar Door. Check it out. I think you're going to have a great experience. Going to enjoy some fantastic wine. If you don't know a lot, Ron's going to get you educated, or his staff will. Going to eat some great food, listen to some great music. Hopefully we get you guys out here to check it out.
All
Appreciate you guys joining us on this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in your own backyard. And until your next episode, enjoy your next pour. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You can't put some Preston Smith on the background music, dude?
You're supposed to make me something.
Dude.
You said you're going to help me create some new music.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
I was dying. I was like, hey, man, you got to, more wine. More wine. I was looking at Ron.
I know, we ran out of wine. That was fun. I hope I wasn't too dry.
No, it was on point, dude.